business.
Welcome back from that short break, and let's dive straight into more updates concerning the market performances as with the Israel war going on. So with U.S. bond markets closed for Columbia's Day, traders actually are grappling with uncertainty as they try to assess how its geopolitical risk might unfold and its potential impact on inflation and growth trends.
So, of course, it is important to remember that the recent sell-off in treasuries over the past few weeks wasn't happening in isolation.
Exactly.
It was driven by a combination of factors, including hotter than expected labor data, a decrease in demand for the U.S. government debt, and rising fiscal concerns.
Exactly, and now with the war in Israel escalating, it's triggered a wave of safe haven flows towards assets like the German bonds, oil, and gold. And these seem to be more secure investments during the times of geographical political instability.
Certainly. It is fascinating actually to see how global events can have such an immediate impact on the financial world. For example, actually, the German 10-year bond yield has dropped significantly, down to 0.11%, and of course to 2.78%.
Actually, yeah,
points.
These are all indicators of how interconnected and sensitive global markets are to geographical events. And it's a reminder that the financial markets are not just about numbers, they are influenced by real-world events and human reactions.
Absolutely. So we will be keeping a close eye on how the situation continues to unfold and its impact on the broader financial landscape.
Exactly. So let's actually talk about how the U.S. stocks are ending higher despite the climbing oil prices in this Israel-Gaza war.
Obviously. So despite some rather concerning global events, the U.S. stocks actually showed resilience, posting a back-to-back gains on Monday.
Exactly. And this is quite remarkable in my opinion, that the Dow Jones Industrial Average climbed about 197 points, equivalent to a 0.6 increase, and closing to the near over 33,604 mark. So, and this wasn't alone. The S&P 500 saw a 0.6% uptick, and the Nasdaq Composite Index gained around 0.4%.
Indeed, it is quite a positive outcome given the circumstances. And of course, one of the factors contributing to the market's performance in the surge in oil prices, the US benchmark oil prices rose a significant 4.3% to $86.38 a barrel.
That's right, Victor. And this spike in oil prices actually isn't happening in isolation. It cites the ongoing conflict still in the Middle East, particularly for the Israel and Gaza war.
Well, the situation is indeed concerning. The conflict. Actually, the conflict led to a tragic weekend assault by Hamas on Israel, leaving hundreds dead. But this escalation, of course, put the port of Ashdod and a critical exporter center for Israel potash fertilizer into a state of emergency.
Yes, and this development raises concerns of up to 3% of the global potash supply. It might be jeopardized, and the impact of such supply distributions on the global nutrient supplies is essential for food crops, and this cannot be underestimated.
Of course, and adding to the complexity is the potential involvement of Iran into the conflict. Analysts have sounded the alarm, warning that such intervention could trigger prices to spike in nutrients required for grain production due to supply constraints.
Exactly, and not to mention the potential increases in the Dutch TTF natural gas prices, actually a vital component of nitrogen fertilizer production. It's multifaceted with tissue issue and with ripple effects across various sectors?
Well, I think you should really indeed buckle up, especially for individuals like Gloria that are way deep into agricultural finance. But of course, going in response to these developments, leading fertilizer companies saw notable surges in their stock prices. We saw Nutrien Limited, the world's largest potash producer, witnessed a 4.2% increase in its share price. We saw CF Industries Holdings Inc. It's also a major nitrogen producer, and it also experienced a 6.2% rise, while Mosaic Company recorded a 6.7% gain.
Exactly, and it's fascinating how these global events can have such a direct and immediate impact on the stock market. As we said, it's always about the people and everyone. So before this development, global fertilizer prices had been on a downward strategy in 2023 actually. But this situation, coupled with potential involvement of Iran, this could be the change of the course.
For sure. But of course, and all of this, Gloria, against the backdrop of Columbus Day and Indigenous Peoples Day holidays, with cash trading in the 25 trillion US dollars treasury market closed.
And all of this against the backdrop of Columbus Day, coming up with around $25 trillion with the treasury market. So it's really essential to understand how the wider context of these markets actually moves. So there are not just numbers on screen, like we said. It's tied to the real world events, and these affect people and various stock markets out there. So
of course, all this information definitely has far-reaching consequences. But of course, we will be keeping a close eye and of course observing all these developments as they continue to unfold and the impact on global financial situations.
And before that, Victor, actually, when we look at these fertilizer companies, they are currently in the spotlight due to the escalating tensions in Israel, and they're having a significant impact on their stock prices.
They might as well actually benefit a little, not a little, they might benefit to actually a very far extent from this conflict. But remember, they are within the battle area. Exactly. So of course this geopolitical instability might affect their operations. So as the share prices go up, the operations might be affected, and of course investors will be in for it, might be in for it. So of course they have got the spotlight, but it is still up to them to see and look for all possible measures of making sure their operations keep skyrocketing results.
Exactly, and the recent surprise attack by the Hamas on Israel has put the port of Ashdod in a critical export center for Israel's potash fertilizer into a state of emergency. So we have Ben Isaacson, an analyst from Scotiabank Bank, that has raised concerns upon the 3% of the global potash supply that may be in jeopardy.
Obviously. So that's a substantial figure, Gloria, and it is not just the attack itself that's causing concern. Isaacson has also sounded the alarm regarding potential Iranian involvement within the conflict.
Exactly, and such intervention could have ripple effects, so potentially leading to the price spikes in nutrients requirements for grain production. Due to the supply constraints, however, it could impact the Dutch TTF natural gas prices as a vital component in nitrogen fertilizer production.
So, Gloria, how have the markets been reacting to these developments?
Well, Victor, in response to these concerns, the leading companies have seen significant trade surges. Well, we have Nutrien Limited. It's the world's largest also potash producer. It had a 4.2% increase in its share price. We have CF Industries Holdings, a major nitrogen producer, facing a 6.2% rise. We have Mosaic Company that recorded a 6.7% gain.
Yes, Mosaic. I remember actually just also mentioning it earlier. But it is actually fascinating to see how geopolitical events, of course, can have direct impacts on stock prices of these companies. And of course, emphasis is on how they're actually even going up a bit, judging by all the tension within these areas.
Exactly, and that drives us to the Immunic shares that have been going around. This has been coming from the market report, whereby we had something about Immunic, a biotechnology company that is making headlines.
Indeed. Of course, it is a big day for Immunic, and their stock price is indeed reflecting that. Immunic shares surged an incredible 54% following positive interim data from a phase 2 trial for a treatment related to multiple sclerosis.
Exactly, and that's a significant jump. And to put it into perspective, actually, the stock rose from $1.9 to around $2.45, and that's impressive, actually.
In after
this was
hours.
Yeah, exactly, and it's been performing throughout the year with a 14% increase.
Yes, indeed. And this New York-based biotechnology company has been in the spotlight for its promising developments. Immunic reported that vidoflumidas calcium, which is under study in the trial, demonstrated more potent anti-inflammatory effects than previously known.
Actually, that's exciting news for both the company and the patients suffering from multiple series. Let's dive into the deeper of the specifics of the trial. The company examined the difference in protein levels between study and participants after 4 weeks compared to the beginning of the trial.
After
4 weeks of beginning the trial.
Well, that is indeed right, Gloria. And what they found in this interim analysis is quite remarkable. Participants receiving Immunic's treatment experienced a decrease in the levels of the protein neurofilament light chain, which is a positive sign. On the other hand, those who received the placebo showed an increase in these protein levels.
Exactly, and it really suggests that the Immunic treatment might indeed have a desired therapeutic effect in reducing inflammation associated with these multiple series.
Well, it's important to emphasize how significant this is for the patient suffering multiple sclerosis. Well, this autoimmune disease affects the central nervous system, and it can lead to various debilitating symptoms.
Exactly, and any positive development in this treatment actually is a beacon of hope for those affected by the condition. This Immunic vidoflumidas calcium showing greater anti-inflammatory effects could potentially make a substantial difference in the lives of these patients.
So, of course, it is not just a medical impact, and it's also about the business side of things.
Exactly.
You might be wondering, oh, they've gone to really scientific terms. I don't think we are still on track, but this is all important to investors. So moving on to the business side, the impressive surge in Immunic's stock price reflects investors' confidence in the company's research and development efforts. So, of course, biotech companies like Immunic often experience significant stock movements in response to positive trial results. It indicates that investors believe in the potential success of the treatment and the company's ability to bring it to the market.
And it's also quite worth noting that these biotech stocks are quite volatile, precisely because they are tied down to the outcomes of the clinical trials like this one. Positive results could actually lead to the surge in the stock prices, while negative outcomes could lead to the opposite effect.
That is a crucial point to keep in mind for anyone considering investing in the biotech sector. So it is a high risk, high reward area of the market. So, Gloria, while Immunic shares are soaring today, investors will keep a close eye on the further progress in these multiple sclerosis treatment and any subsequent trial results.
Exactly, and patients and their families affected by these multiple sclerosis will be watching in hope and anticipation for the potential breakthrough in treatment.
That is for sure. Well, we will indeed be keeping a close eye on all of Immunique's other intriguing insights, because this is within how medicine can intertwine with finance and yet again bring really amazing and surprising results.
Exactly. And Victor, in your opinion as an investor, what do you think of this?
Well, the medicine sector is quite another really jumpy one. So of course, I'm sure these trial tests happen, but be having all these doctors on grip, because they know the moment these tests fail, the stock of the company is going to go down. And yet with medicine, they need all the funding they can get, so that they can go to the very extreme of making their medicines, making their innovations be as effective as possible to their customers. So I feel like this is another really investment worthy section of the market, because it is high reward, it is high promise, because you know that the people that you are investing in are really putting in their all to make sure that these investments, this money that has been brought in, is going to do just what it was made for and bring back as many profits as possible.
Exactly. And we'll be coming back with more news concerning Saudi Arabia, because we have some concerning news from there. We'll be back from this short break. Thank you.